Thank you for your interest in the International Journal of Project Management. My name is Martina Hoemann, and I'm the editor-in-chief of this particular journal. Project is a very timely topic. Researching projects is a very timely topic because with projects we are creating the future, and this is why it is so appealing to many researchers. The project perspective in management research in particular is a very relevant perspective, as about 25 to 30% of the gross domestic product worldwide are initialized by projects. So you see that projects are playing an immense high factor economically, but also socially and environmentally. So this is why project and project management, the management of project, is becoming more and more of interest to research. The International Journal of Project Management was established in 1983. It has quite some tradition. We have some 80 issues per year, and we have about between 800 and 1,000 submissions per year. And of those, there is about 81% rejection rate. A high rejection rate is actually an opportunity and an advantage for you, because you can find out very quickly whether the paper you submit is in scope or not. And finally, the acceptance rate for papers is around 6%. And we try to be very quick in our first decisions. The journal is actually published by Elsevier in cooperation with International Project Management Association and also EPM. These are the international and the UK Project Management Association that have co-ownership of the journal. The impact factor has raised again in 21, and you can see that we now have a 2-year impact factor of 9.037. It brings us in on the 29th position in management, which is quite high and quite nice. And with the side scores, you can see that our ranking is also quite nice, and we are within the best 3% in different listings. The listings give you an indication what actually we are publishing, what contexts are very interesting for us, like business and international management, management of technology and innovation, and also engineering and construction, which is the traditional context in which projects have always been taking place over the last 50, 60 years. And we also have a quite comprehensive download quote, which is about 1.5 million per year. So new papers, when they are published in this journal, they get a lot of attention. Here's the international editorial team. And you see we have dedicated associate editors. They are dedicated to themes. So Robert takes on human resource management, organization behavior. Lavignon takes on sustainability, stakeholder management. Mia is responsible for innovation, product development, also managing project-oriented organizations, portfolio management. Vedran takes care of project delivery, urban development, investment projects. Offer takes care of project success, but also topics like project portfolio management and benefit management. Graham takes care of our essay collection, and Ossie is responsible for methods checks and also responsible for papers on project performance. We also have a new addition to our team, Costanza. She is our new social media editor, and you can also visit us on LinkedIn and on Twitter. So, not surprisingly, the scope of the journal is all about projects. So we are looking for papers on managing projects, programs, portfolios, project networks, project-oriented organizations, and also the society. So our lens is projects. Yeah, the mainstream understanding of project is temporary organizations, but there's also a lot of new theories that have developed over the last years that allow you a very distinct perspective on this phenomenon. We are preaching to organizational theory, organization behavior, human resource management, innovation change, entrepreneurship, strategy, you name it. Yeah? So it's always also a lens that you apply on projects and their management. We are welcoming all project contexts. That means originally projects have been done in defense and in construction and in engineering, and but they are now can be found more or less in type of business, healthcare, information technology, consulting, you call it, and also in the public sector. If you're interested in understanding more and going into more depth, then please have a look on our editorial in the 40th volume this year. And it's in the first issue, and it's about celebrating the power of projects and their management, which also explains into more depth what papers we are looking for. We're always looking for rigor and relevance. So the practical applications of what you're looking in research, they are very important for us. We are publishing empirical papers. They can be quantitative or qualitative or mixed. We're also interested in strong review papers, conceptual papers, and this year we have established an essay collection. We're not publishing mathematical method applications and demonstrations, and we're also not publishing education papers. Actually, we offer a lot of support to authors, and we have established a series of editorials giving authors some hints and tips how to get published in International Journal of Project Management. So you can see, for instance, there's one on how to write a paper. There's also another one on what we expect when you hand in a quantitative paper. And there's also 2 editorials on case study research, the one on designing the case study research, and the other one on reporting case study research. They're all open access, so please have a look on the journal website and see what you find useful. Overall, researching projects is a very good opportunity. It offers a vibrant publication opportunities. And in addition to International Journal of Project Management, we have Project Leadership and Society, Project Management Journal, and International Journal of Managing Projects in Business. You might have a look on all of them. We are welcoming your readership and your submissions. For further information, just visit us on LinkedIn or go to our website.
Hey there, everybody. My name is Johan Wicklund, and I'm the editor-in-chief for Entrepreneurship Theory and Practice, ETP. And I give you a very brief overview of our journal, what it is that we publish, what it is that we do. So, the aims and scope is to we're an interdisciplinary scholarly journal for conceptual and empirical research that develops, tests, or extends theory related to entrepreneurship broadly defined. So I think it's important to understand that we publish any type of research that relates to entrepreneurship. Whether you have a background as an economist, a sociologist, a psychologist, work in a business school, doesn't really matter. As long as your primary focus of your paper is entrepreneurship and you intend to contribute to advancing entrepreneurship theory, your papers are welcome at ETP. I also have a number of bullets there regarding the types of papers we might publish, some examples. So we publish, of course, as any journal, we publish original articles. But we also publish editorials, and a lot of people find these editorials quite helpful. Here are some examples. They often concern advice for how people interested in entrepreneurship can conduct better research and write better papers. So we have one here that discusses advances qualitative entrepreneurship research, another for quantitative entrepreneurship research. We have one there for writing reviews in entrepreneurship, and finally one that contains simple rules, templates, and heuristics about how the actual craft of writing a paper. And I recommend you to read these. They can be quite helpful if you're interested in entrepreneurship research. We also accept research notes, and these are different from regular papers. For example, we accept and encourage replications, what we call methodological briefs that might discuss the application of some new interesting research method. We also have theoretical briefs that discuss some specific issue related to theory. And finally, we have registered reports. So I think these are all things that a lot of journals talk about and encourage, and we actually explicitly publish these papers at specific kinds of research notes. You can, of course, read more about the details on our website, and you can also check out previous research notes in the journal. A few stats here. So the acceptance rate is about 8%. It varies between 6 and 8%. The average time it takes to make the first decision is 31 days, and the average time to final decision is 77 days. If you look at these numbers and you compare them to other journals, which I have, it essentially shows you that ETP is a well-run, well-managed journal, and it has comparative turnaround time as other leading journals in our field. Let's say a few words about rankings. So in all categories that Clarivate and others rank journals, ETP is the #1 or #2 entrepreneurship and small business journal. So it's one of the 2 leading journals in entrepreneurship, simply put. The other one is Journal of Business Venturing, JBV. I mean, it is a top business journal by any standards. I mean, if you look at impact statistics, we typically rank higher than journals such as SMJ and Journal of Applied Psychology, which are like the top journals for strategy and for OB people. I mean, if you want to look at the details, this year we ranked as number 24 in terms of 2-year impact factor. We're ranked as number 11 in terms of 5-year impact factor. In terms of Simago's journal rank, we're number 18 out of 434. And if you look at the Google Scholar Metrics, we're the top journal. So by any standards, ETP is considered the top journal. And that's the end of my presentation. As I said, if you do quality research in entrepreneurship, I strongly encourage you to submit this work to us. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about the journal organizational research methods. We publish qualitative and quantitative work, and we're writing for micro, meso, macro researchers in a broad area of organizational sciences. So this includes organizational behavior, human resources, IO psychology, strategy, organizational theory, and any disciplines that touch on those. There's 2 purposes for ORM that I want to talk to you about today. One is ORM is a great place for you to learn methods. We all know that as we continue in our careers, we need to stay up to date, and we need to keep adding to our methodological toolkit. And ORM is a really good source for being able to do that. The second is it's an outlet for your own research methods papers. Okay, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about that. So there's a variety of different types of papers that we look for at ORM to serve a variety of different purposes. So one is you may have a new approach, okay? It might be a statistical approach of some kind. It might be a new approach for coding interviews for a particular research study. It could be refinements of any current methods that are out there, and you have found something of a better way to do it, a better way to understand the results we're going to get from that. You might be looking to introduce a development or a technique from another discipline that's not in the organizational sciences, and that can be a completely legitimate kind of paper as well. In many kinds of data analysis, there's alternate ways of doing things, or there's alternate ways of collecting data. What's the best? Why? When? So that comparisons of alternative approaches that help people, researchers, make better decisions in the future is also another relevant kind of topic. We sometimes publish measurement validation studies. If it's just a straight up measurement development, not usually, but if you found a somewhat new and enhanced way of actually doing the measurement development process that might be applied to other studies, then that's a valid approach. We'd like to hear about it. We don't have a defined length. I mean, most papers are typically 30 pages plus tables, appendices, and so on, but we take short papers as well. And so we can do short kinds of tutorials, for example, that might be appropriate, particularly if it's something that's not widely understood in the field. And occasionally best practice papers that identify amongst a whole set of alternatives about how to do some kind of approach, what kind of approaches are best and why. So that can be helpful as well. So all of these are fair game for ORM. And if you're ever not sure about whether a paper would be useful for ORM, I encourage you to get in touch with me or with Tina, and we'll give you our honest opinion about whether your idea fits within the scope of the journal. As I mentioned, Tina Kohler and I are co-editors. We have associate editors from multiple places in the world representing multiple different kinds of strengths. So again, qual and quant people, micro people to macro people, and we'll probably be adding more associate editors in the coming year or two. Okay, we have an impact factor of 8.25. That puts it on most universities' A-lists. Our 5-year impact factor is even higher. Our acceptance rate is ranging from between 5 and 10% at the moment. And the journal is rated 5th highest in the applied psychology category. And it's in the top 10% of the broad category of management journals. So we get a high reach over a long period of time. Okay, so again, 2 purposes for why you should pay attention to ORM. One is it's a good source for you, okay? It's a good source for you to read and for continuing to add to your knowledge about how to do research. The second is think about writing a methods paper, okay? Most people who write methods papers are not methods geeks, all right? But in the process of doing your own research, you probably have discovered an area where there's confusing advice. Well, maybe you can find a way to sort that out, figure out a better way to do it. Or you've discovered that, nobody really has a good way to solve this particular problem, but I think we can, and here's how. So I know some people who, with every project that they work on, think about, okay, what's going to be the substantive contribution to this? But also, what can I do as a methods contribution from this same study? So it's a way to help leverage all of the time and the effort and thought that you put into your research studies, and to contribute to knowledge on the methodological side as well as on the substantive side. So that's my quick overview, and I look forward to talking to you in the session.
Welcome. My name is Jonathan Pinxer, and I'm one of the deputy editors of the journal Organization and Environment. In this brief video, I will explain to you what this journal is all about and why we would hope that you're submitting your best work to our journal when it is in the field of business sustainability. So what is the main aim of the journal? The main aim of the journal is to publish research that is rigorous and impactful in the area of business sustainability. So mostly triple bottom line type of studies, social, environmental and economic impacts. But we focus mostly now on environmental sustainability. There are many different journals in this space currently, and we want to focus specifically on the natural environment. So we look for studies that explain and investigate what the impacts are of business organizations on our natural environment, what companies are doing to prevent any negative impacts, and so forth. We are currently listed in all kinds of different journal lists. For example, in the CAPS, we're currently a level 3, and in the Australian list, we're a level A. Our impact factor is close to 5.3. So overall, we are a well-developed, high-level journal in the field of management. So what is it that we specifically focus on? As I said, we specifically focus on environmental sustainability. So we want to know how companies are currently dealing with the whole climate crisis. How do they try to achieve net zero? But also other topics like biodiversity. What are companies doing about biodiversity or not doing? And how can we explain what is currently happening? On all kinds of different managerial levels. So we look at the individual manager, more on the organizational level, but we also are interested in studies that make the link between our natural environment on a system level and what companies and individuals are doing. So we want to know how the impact on our environment can be reduced, because we're currently clearly finding ourselves in a combination of all kinds of different crises with recent droughts and so forth. We do this specifically with a focus on management and organization theory. We're a management journal. So we look for papers that use management and organization theories to try and explain how companies are dealing with the natural environment. So it is the combination of these type of theoretical approaches and topics related to environmental sustainability that is really the focus of our journal. So we look for very good empirical research. If it's more quantitative, make sure you have very well developed models based on good data. When it's more qualitative, that you really show how you've collected your data and that it's very transparent how your coding has worked. But since we work in the field of sustainability, we also really look for impactful research. We look for papers that explain to us how really companies can change the way they do business and how they should be changing, but based on empirical evidence. Of course, theory papers are also welcome if you develop new ideas of how we should focus on business sustainability theoretically. We are also doing special issues. Currently, we have several in the pipeline, for example, on non-financial disclosure, so sustainability reporting, and one on business models for sustainability. Currently, there is still one open for the role of place in sustainability, and we have one coming up around literature reviews in the area of business sustainability. We always have the possibility to start new special issues. So if you have an idea for running a special issue in the field of business sustainability, you can contact the editors and they will have a look at that. So this is in a nutshell the journal Organization and Environment. We really try to be the top management journal specifically focused on environmental sustainability and the role of companies in it. So looking forward to receiving your work when you work in the field of business sustainability. Thank you.